Under the pale glow of a crescent moon, Tom Whitaker stood frozen, his boots sinking into the damp earth where his family's barn once stood. The air was thick with the scent of splintered wood and betrayal. Beside the wreckage lay a crumpled piece of papera fake HOA notice, its bold letters screaming of a scheme so brazen it made his blood boil. His heart pounded, not just from grief but from a fire kindling deep within. This wasn't just a barn. It was his legacy, his sanctuary, and someone had torn it apart without a shred of authority. Who had the gall to do this? The answer would unravel a tale of deceit that would shake the sleepy town of Willow Creek to its core. Tom's barn wasn't just a pile of planks and nails. It was a time capsule, holding memories of his grandfather's calloused hands guiding him to sand a beam smooth, his father's patient lessons on DRIVYing and nail straight, and his kids' giggles echoing through hay bales during endless summers. Every creak of its weathered floorboards told a story off barn dances under starry skies, of whispered secrets with his sister, of rusted tools and antique chairs that no money could replace. When Tom left for a rare vacation, he'd pictured coming home to its familiar embrace, a constant in a world that spun too fast. Instead, he returned to a gaping wound in the earth, the barn reduced to rubble by men posing as HOA officers imposters who'd wielded fake power to shatter his past. The shock hit like a punch to the gut. Tom's knees buckled as he sifted through the debris, his fingers brushing against a splintered plank etched with his daughter's childhood doodles. Anger surged, hot and unrelenting, as questions swirled in his mind. Who were these frauds? What gave them the nerve to destroy something so sacred? The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was an attack on everything he held dear, a calculated strike to erase his family's roots. But as the autumn leaves rustled mournfully around him, something shifted. Grief hardened into resolve. Tom wouldn't let this stand. He'd fight, not just for his barn but for the soul of his community. The next morning, mist clung to the ruins like a shroud. Tom's neighbor, Clara, approached, her eyes wide with urgency. "Tom, you won't believe this," she whispered, glancing nervously at the pine woods. She revealed the truth. The men who demolished his barn weren't HOA officers. They were con artists, cloaked in fake titles, preying on the town's trust. Tom's jaw clenched, his voice crackling with fury. How dare they? The audacity of it invading his land, desecrating his memories under the guise of regulation lit a fire in him. But Clara's words carried a deeper sting. Tom wasn't their only VY Tim. These imposters had bullied others, demanding cash for made-up violations, sowing fear across Willow Creek. Word spread like wildfire. Neighbors gathered on porches, their faces etched with outrage. Quiet old Mr. Jenkins, who ran a hardware store, shared how the frauds had threatened to fine him over a faulty fence. Mrs. Larson, a widow, trembled as she recounted their demands for payment to overlook her garden's violations. Each story fueled Tom's resolve, turning his solitary anger into a shared inferno. This wasn't just his fight, Anna Maria was theirs. The town, once content to keep to itself, buzzed with defiance. Small meetings turned into packed town halls, voices rising in unison against the deceit that had fractured their trust. Tom, a retired mechanic with a knack for soul VYing problems, threw himself into the hunt for answers. He knocked on doors, collecting stories that wove a chilling tapestry of exploitation. Each neighbor's tale misses. Carter's fear of losing her home, young Sam's vandalized bike added weight to his mission. The imposters, he learned, were two men, Derek and Miles, slick talkers who'd posed as HOA enforcers to extort money. They'd exploited Willow Creek's faith in authority, turning trust into a weapon. Tom's evenings became a blur of documents and notes, his kitchen table buried under invoices and recorded statements. Every scrap of EVY Denke was a step closer to justice. Enter Lisa Monroe, a local reporter with a reputation for chasing stories that scared others off. Over coffee at the town's diner, her pen flew as Tom poured out his ordeal. Her sharp eyes gleamed with the thrill of a big scoop. "We're taking these guys down," she said, her voice fierce. Their partnership was Electric Tom's meticulous EVY denke, paired with Lisa's knack for turning facts into a story that could shake the county. As news of their alliance spread, hope flickered in Willow Creek. Neighbors who'd once cowered now shared their stories, their hushed confessions growing into bold declarations. Tom's home became a war room, its walls lined with timelines and names, each pin a nail in Derek and Miles's coffin. But the con men weren't going down quietly. One night, Tom found an envelope taped to his door, his name scrawled in jagged ink. Inside, a note hissed, "Back off, Whitaker, or you'll regret it." His pulse raced, fear clawing at him for a fleeting moment. But then he set the note down, his jaw tightening. Giving and would betray everyone who'd rallied behind him. His phone buzzed with messages from neighbors, their support a lifeline. "We're with you, Tom," Clara texted. "Don't let them scare you." The threats only stoked his fire, turning fear into fuel. Derek and Miles had underestimated Willow Creek, and they'd pay for it. The turning point came at a town hall meeting Tom organized in the old community center. The room hummed with nervous energy as residents filled the pews, their faces a mix of hope and fury. Tom stood at the lectern, his voice steady despite the weight on his shoulders. "This isn't just about my barn," he said, his words cutting through the murmurs. "It's about all of user homes, our trust, our fight." He laid out the EVY denke, photos of the rubble, grainy security footage of Derek and Miles at work, notarized accounts of their threats. The crowd's outrage swelled, voices rising as neighbors shared their own run-ins with the frauds. When Tom called for a vote to take their case to the county, hands shot up, a unanimous roar of defiance. Willow Creek was done being prey. Weeks of sleepless nights culminated in a dossier that told a damning story. Tom and Lisa had built an airtight case, every page dripping with the pain of a betrayed town. Lisa's exposé hit the local paper like a thunderclap. Its headline, "Fake HOA Scams Ravage Willow Creek," igniting fury across the county. Tom's pilgrimage to the county office felt like a march to war. The clerk, Mrs. Daniels, took the report with a nod that promised action. "This won't be ignored," she said, her eyes kind but firm. As Tom handed over the pages, he felt their weight, not just paper, but the collective strength of a town that refused to break. The verdict came swiftly. At another packed town hall, county officials delivered their ruling with a GRAVY tie that silenced the room. Derek and Miles were banned from operating in the county, their scheme exposed as a house of cards. Cheers erupted, but for Tom, the real VY Tory was in the faces around him, neighbors who'd once been strangers, now family forged in fire. The fight had changed Willow Creek, VYing a fractured town into a tapestry of resilience. The sun rose on a crisp autumn day as Tom stood before the foundation of a new barn. Neighbors arrived with tools and pies, their laughter mingling with the scent of fresh timber. "This isn't just a barn," Tom told them, his voice thick with emotion. "It's us, standing together." As nails sank into wood, stories of courage filled the air. Kids darted through the site, their joy a promise of a fearless future. The barn rose sturdy and proud, a monument to a town that fought back. A plaque gleamed at its entrance, honoring the old barn's legacy and the struggle that birthed this one. Tom's heart swelled not with pride, but with the quiet satisfaction of doing right by those he loved. Willow Creek had scars, but it was stronger for it. The barn wasn't just a building. It was a beacon, proof that unity could topple even the slickest lies. As Tom shook hands with neighbors, their gratitude warmed him like the sun. This was their story, written in sweat and resolve, a tale of a town that refused to bow. But questions linger, sharp and provocative. Did Derek and Miles act alone, or was someone bigger pulling the strings? Should Tom have pushed for harsher punishment, or was exposing them enough? Could your town be next, prey to frauds hiding behind fake badges? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this story fired you up, and subscribe to join our fight for truth. Let's keep the conversation blazing because justice starts with us.